Hey guys, this is my last video for Deathtrap Broken this season. I want to give you a last update for my pit pushing variant build, which I used in order to place myself at the Rogue Leaderboard. And also I will give you some tips at the end of the video for pit pushing if you want to do this as well. And yeah, let's just start with an overview in the Rogue Leaderboard. So here you can see I did a pit 107. And it placed my character at top 50 in the Rogue Leaderboard. And actually I also have checked other Rogue players if there are some players which use the same setup as I do. So if you can remember, I'm still playing with my momentum setup here. Many Rogues have already changed or swapped to close quarters combat because this is more damage specifically for the pit pushing variants, so everyone who really wants to get the highest possible ranks with Rogue should swap to close quarters combat. Also I saw some variants with exposure, especially in the Asia room, so in the from Asia players. But yeah, I pushed the pit with my original momentum build that I shared with you from the beginning in the season. And so just so you have an idea of how far this build or the setup can actually push in the pit. But anyways, I checked the other Rogue players for the same or similar setups, and I could only find 3 additional Rogue players which also use momentum. So actually, with momentum Deathtrap Rogue, I should be in the top 5 of the global Rogue Leaderboard, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this build is not really popular in the pit pushing sphere especially. So here all the players you can see use penetrating shot, so they are clearly playing with close quarters combat. And pit 111 is like the highest pit that the Rogues pushed so far, at least at the day when I record this video here. Maybe it's already 112. And for my build, I think 107, but also maybe 108 is actually possible with some map fishing and like hitting the perfect enemy type and everything goes very well. Then I think 108 is also possible with the momentum setup. But anyways, so what has changed in my latest update and in this pit pushing variant? So if you guys remember correctly, we used to play the variant with concealment and death trap, where also concealment was a big part of the damage output of this build, because we had to alternate between concealment and death trap around 2 times per second in order to deal the maximum amount of damage. So this now has changed, because in this in this pit pushing variant, I can now spam my death trap, and I just use concealment for applying vulnerability and to break crowd control effects from the enemies. So this is like the biggest change, I would say, in this build. And also you can see I have dropped, for example, Blade Shift, and we now have all damage buffs from the Rogue class. So we have Caltrops, Poison Trap, and Smoke Grenade. All of these 3 skills are kind of support skills, which just increase our damage any further. And because we do not play with Blade Shift anymore, we also have to find another way to stack up our momentum stacks. Because here we need to reach 10 stacks of momentum before we can actually play this build. And that is actually pretty simple, because we can do this with dash as well. We can just, so at the beginning of the dungeon, what you should do is you cast dash 2 times, then you cast death trap 2 times, and now you can hold down both buttons and now spam all skills basically. And now you can see I just reached 10 momentum stacks pretty quickly here as well. So yeah, and like I mentioned, in this variant I can just spam my death trap, so I just hold down my Q button and spam death trap. And concealment, I can only use it like once every 6 seconds in order to apply vulnerability, because here you can also see it will only be active for 6 seconds. Now it disappeared and now it's active again. And yeah, the rest of the skills are the support skills I just mentioned. So every 5 seconds I cast my Caltrops, Poison Trap, and Smoke Grenade. I can also drink a potion from time to time. And yeah, this is basically the entire rotation for this pit pushing variant. So it's a lot more simple to execute this rotation, because I don't have to think about the concealment and death trap alternating anymore. So before that, in my speed farming variant, I did this. I hold down concealment with Q, and then I tapped death trap 2 times per second in order to benefit from the most damage multipliers from concealment and Dance Macabre. But this is, like for pit pushing purposes, this is not so good, because you also have to push a lot of the other buttons here, and it's just, not ideal for this pit pushing pit pushing scenario, sorry. So yeah, for that reason I changed to this setup here. We can quickly go over this items here. Most of the items should be the same. I think I found like a better Ice and Dark here with a greater FX. And the biggest change is that I now also play with a bow instead of a crossbow. I can also talk about that very quickly. But you can see here the gear is basically the same as in my latest videos. I still don't have a greater FX on my Doombringer, so here I lose about 10% DPS, but whatever. And here the bow, the reason for the bows, because, so why I switched from crossbow to bow, first I found this bow here with 2 greater FXs, so my crossbow was worse than this one in regards of greater FXs and stats in general. And the other big reason is it has to do with the tech speed breakpoints in the game. So my goal was to reach 11 frames for the Death Trap cast animation. So this means I can cast Death Trap 5 times per second. And since in this variant here I do not tap Death Trap 2 times per second anymore, but actually I can just spam it, hold it down, and it will cast up to 5 times per second. I wanted to find a faster weapon, so bows are faster than crossbows, and with a bow I can actually reach higher attack speed breakpoints, so like I mentioned 5 death traps per second instead of 2 from the previous setup, and that is also like another reason. So this gives me more, overall this gives me like I think 5% more DPS if I do not consider that this bow has better greater FXs than my crossbow. So yeah, it's just a small increase, and if you have a crossbow, don't worry, it's also fine. It's just for the min-maxing approach here to really get the maximum amount of damage output possible. So this is the only change in the gear section. For the skills, you can check out my Mobalytics planner as usual. I will update the build there. And like I mentioned, I have now all of the damage buffs here from Caltrops, Poison Trap and Smoke Grenade, which are very important for pit pushing. I also have Balestra here because sometimes I evade in order to collect some potions that lie on the ground in order to give me more damage output with the potion because of unstable elixirs. So another small damage multiplier here with Balestra. Again, only recommended for pit pushing purposes. And yeah, but everything else should be the same more or less, still playing with momentum. And the Paragon board also did not change too much, so I only swapped one board. So here I used to play with the Dance Macabre board, but because now we are spamming Death Trap, like I mentioned, we do not care about Concealment and Dance Macabre too much. So for that reason I swapped for Cheap Shot. This is also a pretty solid board and pretty good legendary node. And also what's pretty good about this board is we have a bunch of max life nodes. So we have like these nodes here and also these nodes here. So we get like 16% more max life, which is pretty important for overpower builds. Because as you know, we scale our damage with our max life mostly. So here I'm reaching more than 50k with how it's called, incenses. Yeah, so that's the major change actually. For this setup, like I mentioned, everything will be in the Mobalytics planner as well. And now I want to quickly show you my run here. So as you can see here in the beginning, you have to stack up your momentum stacks. Actually, I don't know why I'm only at 9 stacks. So this is a small mistake I did here. I did not check if I was at 10 stacks already, but now I'm at 10, sorry. And so what I want to, like the number one tip that I can give you here for pit pushing, and I realize not many content creators talk about this, maybe because most players don't care for pit pushing at all. But so the number one tip that I can give you is that you should actually try to get as many elite packs together as possible. So with Death Trap, it's pretty easy to pull all the enemies in a very small area together. So here you can see what I tried to do, and I kind of achieved this as well here, is I combined 2 elite packs together. So now I'm not fighting 1 elite pack by its own, but I can fight 2 elite packs at once, and this doubles my damage this way, because I spend less time, half of the time, fighting these both packs. And this is something you should always do in the pit pushing process in order to, like, if you really want to get at the highest point possible with your build. So like with this momentum Death Trap Rogue build. And yeah, this is by far the best tip that I can give you. Don't fight elite packs just by their own. Always try to combine a few packs together. So what you always should do is you should check out the areas next to your area for additional elite packs. So I think here this is the same scenario. I just left the portal here and immediately found a pack. So if a pack has a damage reduction guy, so damage resistance guy, the purple ones, you can also start fighting them for a bit, because you need to kill them anyways first before you can actually damage the other elites. So it's no problem to kill the damage resistance guys first, but now you can see after I've killed them, I now will start to search for other elites, and here I was lucky, they were pretty nearby. The only problem is they again have another damage reduction guy. But yeah, that's just bad luck. Nothing you can do about this. But yeah, so here you can see I did not spend too much time, and immediately I could combine 2 elite packs together and fight them at the same time. And this is pretty important, because here I was not fishing for the best map and the best enemy types, which would be much easier if you find like a map, I'm not sure what's the name of it, but like this huge desert map with open areas. There it's more easy than here, for example, so it also depends on the map. And also if you would find like spider enemy types, this is by far the best one, so spiders which can spawn more spiders after you kill them. So then it's even better, but especially if you don't want to fish for the best maps, it's very crucial factor in order to succeeding the pit push, that you combine different packs together and always fight them together. So that's just the tip I wanted to give you here. The boss fight. Here you can just check out the numbers a bit for the setup. So here I hit like for over 1 trillion, 1.5 trillion. So if you really want to get to the highest pit pushing levels, so pit 110, 111, 112, you should definitely change to the close quarters combat setups, which there are plenty of on YouTube and Mobalytics and other websites. But if you just want to get as high as possible with this setup, with the Momentum Rogue, then I just hope that this video helped you and you now have a better idea of how far you can push with it and how you can actually push with it. And maybe one last tip is don't forget to activate your damage buffs every 5 seconds or so. So the Caltrops, Poison Trap and Smoke Grenade, you should reactivate them every 5 seconds. Especially Caltrops is a skill that expires if you do not recreate it or recast it in a specific time frame. So you should definitely pay attention to this internal clocks and internal timings in order to refresh your damage buff skills. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to cover in this video. I hope this helped you. And for everyone who wants to push for the pit and go and place yourselves in the Rogue Leaderboards rankings, I wish you good luck. And yeah, have a nice day, guys. Thanks for watching and bye bye.